What's up, YouTube? Welcome or welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network. Today, fellas, I want to talk to you about a concept known as hypergamy. Now, this subject has been discussed a great deal in the red pill spaces, but for you guys who are new here and possibly new to this type of content, I want to break it down into two categories. The way it's been practiced for the entirety of the human race and how it's been transformed into its modern equivalent. Basically, it works like this. Hypergamy in the ancient world was a family who was poor, or maybe they had a little bit of money, would take a look at their beautiful virgin daughters and they would marry them off because, back then a lot of cultures had arranged marriages back then. Marrying for quote-unquote love is an extraordinarily new concept in the human race. But back then, families would get together. A father from a poorer family and a father from a more affluent family would look at their children and they would say, okay, listen, my daughter's very beautiful. She's untouched. Your son's a handsome guy and he's next in line to inherit the fortune. I offer my daughter to you and your son will pay a dowry to us. Now, this could have been cattle, it could have been livestock, gold, whatever the case may have been, whatever was agreed upon by both families. So the family would get a gift for giving away the daughter. The rich family would get a beautiful young woman who was pure and who could still therefore pair bond. And they would have hopefully healthy offspring, and this would bring the families together, elevating everyone as a result. Over time, this has become ingrained in women, pretty much written on their DNA, to always seek after a man of at least equal, but most certainly higher economic and or social status. There's nothing we can do about that, gentlemen. It's just a part of who they are. It's a part of what they are. And only the most extraordinary women are able to resist this impulse. More on that in a minute. In the modern era, after the Industrial Revolution, once women began to join the workforce, once women began to wholesale attend colleges and universities and make their own money, what's happened now in the mid 20th century and certainly in the 21st century West is that they have the ability to make their own incomes, acquire as many educational accolades as they want. And so for this reason, women, like their ancient counterparts, prefer to date across and up. Very rarely will a woman date down, and I'm talking seriously, like this is my boyfriend, this is my fiance, this is my... Very rarely will women date down, because in their mind, they're, quote, settling for. A lot of guys don't like this aspect, and I'm not crazy about it either, but we have to be honest here, fellas. As men, we have an obligation to keep it real. Only women and children get to live in fantasy land. And the truth of the matter is, hypergamy simply does not care. I get yelled at a lot by people who think that I'm very cruel, that I'm too harsh when it comes to my opinion of and my treatment of women. But I disagree, and it's for this reason. As a realist, we don't get the luxury of fairy tales. We have to look at the world objectively, see it for what it is, and adapt and then overcome. For instance, when you understand that women, by their very nature, hypergamy, by its very essence, is the 24 hours a day, constant urging, you could go as far as to say nagging impulse inside of every single woman on this planet to not be grateful for what she has. This sounds awful, but think it through. Men are taught incorrectly on purpose from the earliest days of our youth. We're taught that if you treat a woman nicely, if you do this, you do that, basically if you simp for women, that there will somehow be a reward for you. A lot of you guys have a life experience that tells an entirely different story. And I don't recommend simping for women because they despise simps. Nothing dries up a woman's vagina faster than a guy who treats her well. But I would say it like this. While I don't recommend men mistreat women, like, putting their hands on, nothing like that. I don't recommend that at all. And I recommend that you guys try to do your best to never do that for the consequences that are sure to follow. But my point is, we're taught incorrectly on purpose because it serves a greater narrative. Women benefit from men who don't understand their nature. Women benefit from men who think it's actually a good idea to invest in them. I'm of the mindset that if the woman in question is not fitting comfortably in one of two categories, your investment in her is entirely wasted. Number one, if that woman in question is not one of your blood relatives, your investing in her is a waste of time, energy, attention, and money. If that woman is not matter of fact, this second category is actually tied for second place. If that woman in question is not a trusted employee, meaning you're paying her salary for a service she provides to you, maybe she's your accountant, maybe she's your bookkeeper, whatever case, maybe if she's good at her job you hired her for, and her being good at her job increases the bottom line of the business, and you're able to profit as a whole, and therefore you're able to keep her on payroll by giving her raises and bonuses and things of that nature, then fine, invest in her all you want. Make her better at her job, because the better she's at her job, the more money you make. Fantastic. Tied for that would be if you're a coach or a sensei of some sort to this young woman or grown woman. If she's come to you to harness a skill, gymnastics, the martial arts, maybe you're a real estate mogul who has students in real estate classes, or whatever case, maybe that's the case. And the more you teach her, the better she looks on her testimonials for your dojo or for your real estate class or for whatever. The better she does at what she does, having taught her how to do it, the better you look. Okay, fine. Those three things are the only time investing in a woman actually yields benefits. In the dating world, in the romantic world, it doesn't matter what you do, because women are naturally ungrateful, except for the ones who were taught by a strong masculine role model to at least exhibit the facade of gratitude. Rollo Tomasi, shout out to him, wrote a book years ago called The Rational Male, and in that book there's a chapter called Hypergamy Doesn't Care. And I'm going to leave a link down below to an audiobook excerpt from that. Every single man and every single boy on this planet in every language should read this passage and drill it into his head, tattoo it across his frontal lobe, and make sure he remembers this is the state of women. And that if you at any point in your interaction with her lose your frame, it all comes crashing down. Now, some would say hypergamy can be used for a man's advantage, and I would agree somewhat with that. If you're the kind of guy who's constantly chasing the brass ring, if you're in the gym, you're putting the time in, if you're doing what you got to do economically, if your hygiene is on point, if your grooming is on point, and other women want to do you, then you just might be the best that she can attain. Remember, fellas, this is the cruel, heartless truth of the human experience. Men want the most attractive woman who hopefully has other attributes that they can afford. Women want the highest caliber guy they can attract. That's the truth of the matter. All the dating coaches, all of the pickup game, all of that takes a backseat to those two fundamental facts. A woman is a bill, gentlemen. like your cell phone, like your car insurance, like your lights and water, like your mortgage. A woman is a bill. It does not matter what her annual salary is. It does not matter who her father is and how much money he's got. If a woman enters your life, she's been trained from the first day that she should be compensated for access to one or more of her moist holes. There's a word for that. YouTube doesn't like it, so I won't use it. So the reason for this misconception is, number one, it benefits her. But by teaching young women and girls that, and the grown women they one day become, that they have somehow given you something, takes from the table the fact, the easily provable fact, that when you and she get together and you're sexually intimate, you're having just as much sex as she is. It's an equivalent exchange. But you can't teach boys this. It upsets the power dynamic. And it upsets her access to that man's resources. Because once he understands, hey, you're getting just as much out of this as I am, that levels the playing field. And a level playing field, because men are stronger, faster, tougher, and more reliant, puts them in a disadvantageous state. Women do not like disadvantages, which is why they do everything they do to stack the deck in their favor. Fellas, understand this. If you're with a woman, you're in a relationship with her, if you can make it work, then make it work. Fantastic, and I wish you well. For you guys who've gone your own way, you guys have found a cheat code. You don't have to navigate this minefield. You don't have to navigate the foolishness that comes with constantly trying to remind a woman you give a damn about her. Every damn 5 minutes. Your time belongs to you. Your attention belongs to you. Your money belongs to you. And you can come and go as you please. No checking in. None of that nonsense. You guys, I wish you well. And I speak highly of you and about you here on the Saving Men's Lives Network. Other men have found a different path that involves them taking their show on the road and taking their money to places where it goes a whole lot farther, and thus keeps the hypergamy tamped down. Because think of it, if you make what we in America consider an average income here in the third world, you are a mid-wealthy to very wealthy man, and thus the local guys in that part of the world, wherever you choose, financially cannot compete, except for the elite among them over there. So that might help you stave off hypergamy and its self-destructive nature. Women have no problem the split second they feel, finger quotes in the air, a better deal across the horizon of abandoning ship. Because you cannot build equity with anything but accounts. You cannot build equity with women. What you do for her, she on purpose quickly forgets. Because hypergamy is simply an extension of Briefo's law. The what have you done for me lately mindset. So, that said, that's my time. Like the video, comment down below. Tell me your story of hypergamy. Of a girl you were with one time who was chasing the bigger, better deal. Bonus points if it blew up in her face and she came crawling back. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified when the new videos drop. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth can set him free. Network as we working. Till next time.